underdog. I've been through it all.
What's good, you guys? Welcome to For the Underdogs podcast. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I'm out here in Miami. I'm at the Pro Athlete Community event, Next Chapter U to be exact, and I'm here with one of my former teammates, Darius Kilgo. So I'm happy to have him on the podcast, man. Guy's got an interesting story, and I'm just excited to dive deeper into, you know, his transition and his career and everything. So I appreciate you being here.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate you having me, man. For
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about your career first and foremost. We spent time together in New England, but prior to that, you were drafted to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, man.
Tell me a little bit about how that was for you.
Yeah, man. So I went to school in Maryland, ended up getting drafted by the Broncos in the 6th round, man. And it was a great experience, man. I got drafted to an established team with a lot of vets that played a lot of ball, and great leaders within the locker room and on the field as well. So it was a blessing, man, to be able to go into an organization that gave me a chance, man, and just to see the grind and learn from the vets, bro, and really, you know, that carried us all the way to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So that was a great experience, man, just playing with DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, Peyton Manning, you know, some of the greatest players that, you know, you can ever be around in the locker room. And that's really what I tried to take advantage of, is just learning from those guys, you know, not only on the field, but off the field as well, and just trying to find, you know, the right path and the lead way to go down.
Yeah, that's really cool. What was something that stuck out to you about being drafted in the 6th round? Like, was there an expectation that you felt, or did you really just want to go in there, put your head down and work? Like, explain that experience to me.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was crazy, bro. And like, even to get drafted and just to feel that experience was something that was unbelievable. But it was definitely an opportunity for me, and I wanted to take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't know what to expect going into the league, but you know, also as a rookie, you kind of like, all right, which way do I go? You know what I mean? And just it was a struggle for me at first, and I had to make an adjustment.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? Like that rookie minicamp hit different. You know what I'm saying? And then rookie minicamp into camp, and just, you know, it was a long season, bro. So I just tried to keep my head down and work. You know what I'm saying? But it was definitely hard at times for sure.
I feel that. I feel like a lot of times we get, especially as rookies, we get in there and we don't really notice what's going on.
Yeah, bro.
You just kind of got these blinders on. And it wasn't until, after my career was over that I reflected on my rookie year and everything after, you know.
Yeah,
did you have those times where, I'm sure you did, post-career, you sat back and you reflected on your rookie year, your second year, and things like that? Did you have those moments? And what was the emotion behind it?
Definitely, man. I say my rookie year was tough mentally. Like, I really didn't know how the business worked until I got there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, you know, being drafted 6th round, like you're not established. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a locked in roster spot. So that was kind of a culture shock for me, you know, and I already knew, like, going into the league, like, even first rounders, second rounders, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So really just tried to establish myself, man, and do the best I could. But mentally, I did hit a roadblock my rookie year. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of overload. It was a lot for me to, you know, kind of process at that moment. So it was tough. But now that I'm, you know, post-career, I have reflected on, you know, just that journey and the mental space that I was in at that point, you know what I'm saying? And really just, like I said, I tried to lean into the vets and, you know, for them to show me the way when I was struggling mentally, and just try to take advantage of that.
That's dope. So then we go on to, what is it, your second year?
Yeah, man. So I actually, I got cut from Denver. It was the day after Thanksgiving. And you know how the waiver wire works. And I really didn't know what to do, bro. Like, I just bought a spot out there, you know what I'm saying? I just finished having Thanksgiving with the fam, and I got the call. They was like, yeah, we're going to release you. So, but it worked out, man. The Patriots ended up claiming me, you know, and that's obviously how we met, bro. And it's like, man, it's, you know, things don't always work out as you plan, but it was definitely a blessing, man. And even just just having that opportunity to go to another great organization right after Denver was a blessing, bro. So even just that experience within itself, it was tough, but it was worth it. You know what I mean? So, and I just tried to take full advantage of it.
That's dope. I don't feel like I knew how special it was to be in that moment at that time, because we were grinding with the Patriots. Like the grind was real, you know, with Moses and all those guys in the weight room. Like, I think we were just so stuck in that moment of like, we got to keep our spot here.
Bro.
Like, I didn't realize, you know, so many guys play in the league and they don't have the opportunity to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let alone be a part of a Super Bowl run like that.
Right.
And that's something special. It says a lot about the type of people that we had in that locker room and the type of players that we had as well. So fast forward now, obviously we out here in Miami, and you've reflected on your career and everything, and now you're with Pro Athlete Community. You've told me a little bit about how much it's helped you in a mental space, but also just, you know, what you're doing in life.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about what Next Chapter U has done for you and how you found this space, and let's dive into that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I say, like, really when I was making that transition, I knew I wasn't going to get any more phone calls, you know what I'm saying? And I knew my days were coming, you know, that I was going to have to hang it up, you know, and obviously, like, going through that, it was tough for me mentally, but also dealing with some personal issues. It was a tough transition for me.
What did that feel like? What did the transition mentally feel like? Because I know I have my experience with it, but like, if you could describe it in a few words, like the emotions behind it, what does it feel like for someone?
Man, anger, you know, it's anger, hate towards the game, you know, didn't get to leave on your own. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing, you know, and after you don't get those phone calls anymore, you know, you kind of sit back and reflect of like, okay, what could I have done better to stay a little bit longer, or what could I have done to be a better player? So it's like you do a lot of self-reflecting, bro. And then even at that point, you know, you got to deal with life after that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was the biggest thing for me is like, it was tough, man, and a lot of guys struggle with that transition, you know, and I ended up finding PAC, and it really was an outlet for me because, man, I was in a bad spot mentally, physically, and I really didn't have a direction to go, you know, and coming to PAC, man, and NCU definitely changed my life and allowed me to establish my identity outside of a football player, you know, really to establish my core values and what I stand for as an individual, you know? So really just being able to find that purpose, man. And, you know, after the game's over, you know, a lot of guys just lose their identity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All they know is football. Yeah. You know, they've known it for majority of their lives. Yeah. You know, so once that's taken away from you, bro, it can really take a mental toll on you.
Yeah. You said your identity, like I struggle with that as well, you know, feeling like, and it was almost like this regret piece of, I went all in while I was playing. And I think within that, you get lost in thinking this is all you can do.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, like, we're now in a space where guys are building brands and things while they're playing. I didn't feel like I had the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
What would you say to guys that are playing now as far as, like, having a separate thing that they can, you know, continue to develop? Because I do think that's a big piece of not feeling that attachment towards the game when you're done. Like, having something else that you're good at. Obviously, we got to keep the main thing, right. But what would you say to those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I even say from my experience, bro, like I feel like I could have done some different things when I was playing to help me identify, you know, really what direction I wanted to go after I hung up the cleats. Yeah. But at that point, you know, I had some self-doubt of like, okay, maybe I should have took advantage of the people in the locker room or the older vets of like,
and you know, when it's the knowledge. It's too late.
You know, like the knowledge, and it's like, but when it's too late, it's too late, it's like you said. And it's like, man, I should have took advantage of that. I should have just picked the brains of these people that I was in the locker room with around every day, just grinding with, man. So I think that's the biggest thing, man, is just establishing something that you have a drive and a passion for. Just so you're not identified as a football player and you're able to just, you know, not always lock in on just being a football player, but you can lock in on business, other adventures, building your network.
Yeah.
And really that's the biggest thing that I've learned, man, here at Pack is just building your network.
For sure.
You know, but also having that community and that locker room feel is something that's taken away from us.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like we go in the locker room every day, vibe out with the guys, cool vibes, but it's like once you out that locker room, it's over.
Yeah,
you know
I was just talking to Caleb about that. Is like why I think Pack is so special and these events are so special is because I don't think, and I could be wrong, but for me, I didn't miss particularly playing.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the vibe that you get from being in that space,
Definitely.
the locker room, the training table, like post practice, everyone just, you know, kind of recapping practice and joking around and stuff like that. And Pack has kind of recreated that in a different sense when it comes to business, real estate, entrepreneurial things like that. So I was just talking to him about that. I think we kind of misconstrue what we miss about the game sometimes.
Definitely.
A lot of times it's just that vibe of kicking it with my guys and enjoying that piece. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. And I think that's what's special about Pack, man, is a lot of guys need the camaraderie. They need the community. They need that locker room feel, you know, and it's in a different space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have the pressure of having to go out to perform every day. You got to come in and get critiqued on film. You know what I'm saying? Even that personally can tear you down as a player. You know what I'm saying? Like just having the coaches just, you already know.
Yes.
You put the film on, they going to call you out.
You start to believe that that's who you are internally instead of just what you put on tape.
Definitely, bro. And that's so consistent throughout the year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm and it's like that can take a toll on guys. You know what I'm saying? It makes them self-reflect and be like, okay, am I good enough to be here?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I struggled with my rookie year. Like I had an older coach. He was tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? But even like me coming in as a rookie, I had to make some adjustments and realize like, okay, like I can't take this the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like I just gotta lock in and do what I need to do. But I say that was the hardest thing for me my rookie year is like coming into an organization, great coaches, but I had to end up with a position coach that was, you know, he was an asshole, you know what I'm saying, at times. But I also had some vets that were around me that kind of took me under their wing and just kind of showed me the way and how to deal with it mentally.
It's always good to have them vets in place. What would be something, we talked a little bit about your career and, you know, the things that you dealt with. Do you, at this point in your life, now that you've transitioned, do you have regrets around your career? Do you have anything that you like? I mean, you said you wish you would have picked guys' brains from a business standpoint and things like that. But when you look at Darius Kilgo, the football player, do you have any regrets around that situation?
Honestly, man, I'd say no, bro. You know, I'd say I had the opportunity. I tried to make the best of the opportunity, you know, and even my first 2 years was a blessing to go and establish organizations with vets that showed me the way. And then on top of that, to win 2 Super Bowl rings, it's like...
Hold on, man. My guy got 2 Super Bowl rings. I forgot.
Bro. Yeah, bro. So,
2 of them.
2, man. And it was back-to-back. And the crazy thing is, like, my rookie year, we played the Panthers, and I'm from North Carolina. I'm from Charlotte, so that was Cam Newton's MVP year. Yeah. But our defense wasn't rocking, bro. You know,
playing that year.
Man, it was crazy, man, just to be around guys that were locked in, but also great guys off the field. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Take care of their teammates. And then coming to an organization like the Patriots, I mean, it's like you said, it was head down, just work. You know what I'm saying? And you already knew how it went in that locker room, you know, and Bill didn't play that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we was walking on eggshells every day trying to prove why we need to stay there.
We was just talking last night. I was telling people like that organization, you'll really find out at that point in time, you'll really find out if you love football.
Definitely.
Because the glitz and glamour is out the window.
Oh yeah.
Are you putting in the work every day? And every day it was competitive, especially from a standpoint when you talk about being on the bottom of a roster and trying to stay there, because they're always looking for ways to get better. What would you tell players who are in that space? I know I've been in that space where I'm at the bottom of the roster and you got to scratch and claw to be, you know, somebody that contributes. what advice would you give either maybe your younger self or a guy who may find himself in that position at some point in time?
Yeah, man. I say for me, like, I got drafted, but also I bounced around a couple of teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went from practice squad, trying to work constantly to get on the active roster, and sometimes that didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has a different journey, bro. It just depends on what direction they want to take and how they want to go down that journey. And for me, like, I just tried to take advantage of my opportunity, you know, like, because it was times where I was looking for a job, you know what I'm saying, literally trying to get another opportunity. But for me, it was like, if I can get my foot in the door, I'm gonna do whatever I can to stay there. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, you know, like being on the practice squad, staying on the practice squad all year, but also being on the practice squad for a couple of weeks and getting elevated. You know,
people don't understand how hard it is to stay. I used to look at practice. I used to almost be shameful about the P squad thing.
Definitely, bro.
Because I'm like, and that's just the competitor in me. Like, I know I can play, but I'm on practice squad. Yeah. But people don't understand how hard it is to stay on a practice squad the entire year, because the turnover of the practice squad, I think in New England,
bro, they was bringing people in every week.
It may have been 3 of us that stayed on the practice squad the whole entire year.
Yeah, bro.
Outside of that, it was a new guy next to me every week.
Yeah.
And when I look back at it, I'm like, you have the traits, you know, you're equipped with the traits to make the run. It just, like, don't judge yourself because you spent that year on you were still in that 1%. You know, I had so much shame around that at one point in my career, but, you know, like you said, the opportunity is what you make of it. So.
Yeah, bro. And I think guys need to look at that practice squad as an opportunity really just to get better. You know what I mean? Like, it can be hard mentally because, you know, some teams won't even let you come to the game as a practice squad player. So it's like, even from that point,
you don't feel like you're a part of it.
You're not even a part of the team. Like, you watching the game from the hotel room or wherever, and it's like you help those guys put in that work. You contributed to it, but you don't feel a part of it. So even from that mental capacity, bro, it could take a toll on you.
Yeah. No, that's real, man. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Again, we out here in Miami at Next Chapter U. I spoke a little bit about this on an episode that I did solo a couple of weeks ago, and how the one in Arizona was so powerful. Yeah, man. And that's what kind of brought me here, just reconnecting with guys that I played with, former guys, you know. So I appreciate you. We had some good times in New England.
Definitely,
and,
brother.
You know, when you meet people that you know are about that work and about that action, it's always good. So I'm proud to see where you at right now.
Definitely, man.
Let's just keep it going.
Definitely, bro. It's a blessing, man. And like I said, Pac is where it's at, bro. It helped me become a better man and really establish myself outside of just being a football player. You know what I'm saying? But also it gives you the opportunity to be around guys, be vulnerable, be relatable, you know, and just have that community to lean into, bro. So it's always something that I'll forever be thankful for, man. For sure.
Dope, bro. Love, bro. Appreciate you stopping by.
Definitely, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, for the underdogs, I'm an underdog. I've been through it all.